My mother-in-law locked me in the bathroom when I went into labor at her daughter's wedding because she didn't want me to steal all the attention. A few hours later, I woke up in the hospital. My husband, Daniel, and I had our daughter born 32 weeks ago. This is our first child, and naturally, we are very happy. Right now, we have an insane amount of things to do, and we are just getting used to being parents. It's not easy for either of us, but we are trying very hard. We have practically no help because of what happened on the day of our daughter May's birth. It was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. And I don't think I will ever be able to forget it. Even the joy of May's birth doesn't help get rid of the paralyzing fear I felt at that time. I think I would have died if my husband hadn't come to help me in time. Daniel has two younger sisters, Anna, 28, and Emma, 24. I have a good relationship with both of them, and I think there is no hostility between us. We are not very close because everyone is busy with their careers, and we don't see each other often. Emma actually lives in another city, but we try to keep in touch and sometimes talk on the phone or text. Another important person in Daniel's family is my mother-in-law, Rachel, 53. If I have a good relationship with Anna and Emma, things are completely different with Rachel. We absolutely do not get along. And I feel like the problem is not me at all. She has problems with everyone around her. Rachel is a real controlling drama queen, the kind you can only imagine. And she never stops. She wants everything to always go according to her whims and desires. All her children, all three of them, mostly obey her wishes. She raised them alone because their father abandoned them. So the children try to make life easier for both themselves and her. Moreover, if anyone dares to want something different, not what she wants, her reaction ranges from disapproval and whining to a full-blown tantrum with tears and scandals. She is very difficult to communicate with, so I try to stay as far away from her as possible. Daniel understands this. He knows his mother has a difficult character, so he allows me to distance myself from her and interact the way that is comfortable for me. I also understand his feelings toward his mother despite her controlling nature, and don't interfere. She doesn't particularly like me, so she doesn't meddle in my life, and that works for all of us. However, a few days ago, the situation completely got out of control, and Rachel was to blame. Now I don't think I will ever be able to forgive her. On the day of my labor, Anna was having her wedding. It was a wonderful ceremony, and her husband John is a good friend of Daniel's. He proposed about a year ago, and Anna asked me to be her bridesmaid. I agreed. However, when Daniel and I found out about my pregnancy, I had to ask her to choose someone else because I knew I wouldn't be able to handle it. This happened about 6 months after the proposal, roughly half a year before the wedding. At that time, I was 3 months pregnant. I expected a negative reaction from her for backing out halfway, but I knew I had to prioritize. Before talking to Anna, I was very nervous, afraid that our relationship would be ruined forever. But to my relief and surprise, that didn't happen. Anna was thrilled when I told her about the pregnancy. She even temporarily forgot about her wedding when I said I couldn't fulfill the duties of a bridesmaid, and she replied, "The main thing is that you are okay." She even considered postponing the wedding because she didn't want me to miss it, which could have happened if May had been born before the wedding. In the end, she did not postpone the date for many reasons. And honestly, she really didn't have to. Emma was a witness, and I understood that both sisters were busy preparing for the wedding, so I tried not to bother them too much during my pregnancy, which was very difficult. Nevertheless, both of them kept in touch with me, visited me, and helped a lot. I feel a little guilty for not being able to support Anna on such an important day for her, even though she had been supporting me all along. The only person who was unhappy with this whole situation was my mother-in-law. I think she was annoyed that I could no longer be a bridesmaid, which caused some problems with wedding preparations. That seemed like the only logical explanation, and I could understand it. But her hostile attitude toward me continued even after Anna calmly accepted my refusal to be a bridesmaid. The bride was not angry at all, but Rachel, for some reason, started treating me with hostility from that moment on. It was strange, but I thought I was just overreacting because of hormones and that she was nervous because of the wedding. And all this was creating imagined scenarios in my head. I tried to ignore her as much as possible, and for the most part, everything was fine. The situation completely got out of control, both literally and figuratively, at the wedding itself. This was 2 weeks ago, and I was about to give birth. My legs were horribly swollen. My belly was enormous, and it seemed like I was about to lose consciousness. But I still wanted to go to the wedding because Anna wanted me there. I had asked her in advance if she wanted to see me at her wedding because I didn't want to steal attention on her day. I explained that the presence of a woman in the late stage of pregnancy could draw the guests' attention to me, and I didn't want that. It was the wedding day for the bride and groom, and I didn't want to be the person who ruined it. When I told Anna this, she was sincerely hurt and upset. She said she couldn't believe I could worry myself over such meaningless nonsense and not want to come to her wedding. She said she didn't care about attention or other people's eyes. All she wanted was for her family to be with her on her special day. She firmly said that I had to come and not think about any drama. I knew she was speaking sincerely. She is not the kind of person who beats around the bush. If she really didn't want me there, she would have said it directly. But she wanted me there and said it very confidently, and I felt that it was my duty to be by her side. So, despite the severe physical discomfort, I knew I had to support her at the wedding. I won't lie. Many guests were whispering behind my back, but I tried not to pay attention because I knew Anna was happy to see me. And that was the only thing that mattered to me at that moment. Rachel hardly spoke to me and watched the whole wedding with a frown. But I felt too bad to notice. I simply didn't have the strength to deal with her passive-aggressive behavior, so I ignored it. Let her stare all she wants. I was not going to react. And then the main event happened, which shocked and traumatized not only me, but all the guests. I started feeling unwell shortly before the ceremony began. I had already seen Anna, so I got up and went upstairs, hoping it would help me feel better, and then I planned to come back. But I didn't even notice Rachel following me. I felt hot and uncomfortable, so I went into the bathroom. And then my water suddenly broke. It was a real flood. I panicked because my daughter chose the worst possible time to be born. I was in complete confusion and, fortunately, saw my mother-in-law in front of me. By that moment, I was already doubled over in pain. She ran to me, and I told her to take my phone and call Daniel immediately because we needed to get to the hospital urgently. She helped me stand up, sat me on the toilet, and I gave her the phone. And this is where she completely snapped. She said she would call Daniel only an hour after the ceremony ended because she didn't want me to steal attention from Anna. Asked her if she had completely lost her mind and told her I wouldn't survive that long. I tried to grab my phone back, but she locked me in the bathroom and took the phone with her. And there I was, pregnant. Labor literally starting, locked in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet without my phone or my husband. I don't know how I didn't have a full-blown panic attack. Thank God I didn't, because I cannot imagine what could have happened. I somehow stood up, went to the door, and started banging on it desperately. I screamed, and screamed, but the bathrooms were on the second floor, and all the guests were already downstairs at the ceremony, so no one heard me. I screamed until I lost my voice, but no one came. At that moment, I sincerely thought I was about to die and take my child with me. I was exhausted, soaked, sweating like a pig, and could no longer speak. That is the last thing I remember. I don't know what happened next. I lost consciousness from exhaustion. I don't even remember how I got to the hospital. I just know that somehow I ended up there. I woke up a few hours later in the hospital. Daniel was sitting next to me, crying. It took me a few moments to come to my senses and understand where I was. When I saw Daniel crying, I assumed the worst. Immediately, all the memories came back. My mother-in-law locking me in the bathroom, my screams, and I thought that May hadn't survived. When Daniel saw that I had woken up, he breathed a sigh of relief and burst into tears in my arms. I didn't know what to make of it, and I literally felt chills inside. Then I saw a nurse enter the room holding the baby girl and breathed a sigh of relief. Honestly, at that moment I wanted to slap Daniel for scaring me so much, but he said he didn't do it on purpose. He was just very scared and worried about me because when he found me in the bathroom, I was unconscious. I held my daughter in my arms for the first time, and I think I will never forget that feeling. I'm not sure there could ever be anything better in life. I doubt I will ever feel emotions stronger than those I experienced at that moment. After I had given birth, the situation with my mother-in-law completely escalated. She didn't even come to the hospital when May was born, claiming she didn't want to interfere and that she already did enough. But Daniel told me later that she spent the entire day arguing with Anna about me, claiming I had ruined the wedding and made everything about myself. Anna, of course, defended me. She told Rachel that my daughter's birth was the most important thing in the world and that nothing else mattered. She said that if Rachel had any sense of decency, she would have called Daniel immediately instead of locking me in the bathroom. Rachel was furious and left the hospital without even seeing May. Honestly, I was too tired and in pain to care at that moment, and I focused all my attention on my baby. Daniel, on the other hand, was completely supportive. He apologized a million times for not being able to be with me immediately and promised that he would never let his mother behave like that again. He held my hand, stayed awake all night with me, and didn't leave my side for even a minute. I honestly felt like we were a team and nothing could break us. When I finally got some strength back, Anna came to visit us in the hospital. She brought gifts for May and stayed with me for several hours. She told me that the wedding had been beautiful and that she wished I could have been there for the entire ceremony, but she understood why I had to leave early. She hugged me tightly and said that no one could ever replace me as her friend. As for my mother-in-law, I don't even know what to say. After that day, I decided to limit my contact with her as much as possible. Daniel agreed, and now we communicate only when necessary. Honestly, it's a relief. I feel no guilt about it anymore, because she clearly showed who she really is. May is now 2 weeks old, and every day I feel happier and more in love with her. Despite everything that happened at the wedding and with my family, the support of Daniel, Anna, and even Emma made all the difference. I realized that not everyone's opinion matters, and that sometimes you have to put your own health and your baby's safety above all else. I still can't believe how dramatic my labor and the wedding were, but at the same time, I am incredibly grateful for the people who were there for me and showed true love and support. And honestly, I will never forget the feeling of holding my daughter in my arms for the first time. Meanwhile, back at home, we had to adjust to life with a newborn. Daniel and I barely slept for the first few nights, taking turns feeding May and changing her diapers. It was exhausting but also incredibly rewarding. Every time I looked at her little face, I felt an overwhelming sense of love and responsibility. I realized that nothing in the world mattered more than her safety and happiness. Anna and John were constantly checking in on us. They brought meals, helped with laundry, and made sure we didn't overexert ourselves. Emma, even though she had to return to work, called almost every day to ask if we needed anything. Their support made a huge difference. I honestly don't know what we would have done without them. As for Rachel, Daniel filed a restraining order against her. She had threatened to come to our home again, and we didn't want to risk anything happening to us or May. Since then, she has not tried to contact us directly, though we remain cautious. Emma took her to see a therapist and psychiatrist, and it turned out Rachel was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. The doctor said there were no medical reasons for her dangerous behavior and advised therapy. Emma stopped communicating with her after that. She said she was willing to help if Rachel truly had a medical condition, but hatred and malice were just her character traits, and she was done tolerating it. I completely agree with Emma. At first, I thought I might try to forgive or understand Rachel if she had a mental illness. But now that it's clear she just has a malicious personality, I have no intention of dealing with her ever again. Daniel also made it clear that she will never have a role in May's life. She is not a grandmother to her in any meaningful way. He told her that the money she received from him and Emma would be significantly reduced. She cried, saying she worked her entire life for her children and didn't deserve this treatment. Daniel calmly explained that while he appreciated what she did for them, it did not give her the right to endanger my life or May's life. All of this has made me realize who truly matters in our lives. Family is not just blood. It is the people who stand by you in the worst moments. Daniel's unwavering support showed me that he is the man I can trust completely. Anna and Emma's love and help proved that some people truly care selflessly. And Rachel? She is someone we are better off without. Now, every time I see May smiling, I am reminded that life goes on, and love conquers fear. Despite the trauma of that day, I feel stronger and more connected to Daniel than ever. We survived something truly horrible, and it only made our bond unbreakable. Since that day, I've made some changes in how I approach family events. I no longer allow Rachel anywhere near me or May, and Daniel fully supports that decision. We keep our distance, and it's a relief not having to constantly worry about what she might do next. Anna and John remain our pillars of support, always ready to step in whenever we need them, and Emma keeps a careful watch from afar. We've also started documenting everything. From messages to interactions, Everything involving Rachel is recorded. It's not about revenge. It's about ensuring safety. I don't want any chance of her putting May or me in danger again. Daniel and I talk about it regularly and make sure we're on the same page. It gives me peace of mind knowing we are prepared for anything. Sometimes I catch myself thinking about that wedding day, and the fear comes back, even months later. But then I see May sleeping peacefully in Daniel's arms, and all that fear melts away. The experience was horrifying, but it also made me appreciate life, family, and love more than ever. I've learned that people who truly care will always step up when it matters most, and the rest aren't worth your time or energy. I'm sharing this story not to vilify Rachel, but to highlight how quickly situations can escalate and how important it is to protect yourself and your children. Never underestimate your intuition and never ignore red flags. My instincts told me something was off, and thankfully, Daniel believed me and acted quickly. May and I are alive because of it. Now, as a new mother, I feel stronger, more vigilant, and infinitely grateful for the people who truly care about our well-being. Anna and Emma's love, Daniel's unwavering support, and the presence of a newborn who lights up our lives every day, these are the things that matter. The rest? Let it fade into irrelevance. At this point, we are slowly returning to normal life. May is growing every day, and it's incredible to watch her develop. Daniel and I are learning to balance parenthood, work, and our personal time, but having Anna and John so involved makes everything easier. Emma, though far away, checks in constantly, making sure everything is okay. The family dynamic has shifted completely. Rachel no longer has any place in our daily lives, and that boundary is strictly maintained. Daniel has made it clear to all of us that Rachel's past actions will not be tolerated, and he fully supports my decision to keep her away from May. He also handles all communication with her when necessary, so I don't have to face the stress. It's a relief to have a partner who not only understands the gravity of the situation but also acts decisively to protect his wife and child. Despite everything, I've learned to appreciate the moments of calm and love that now define our little family. Every smile from May, every laugh shared with Daniel, and even the small daily victories feel more precious than ever. The trauma of that day is still there in the back of my mind, but it no longer controls me. I feel empowered knowing that I survived it and that we survived it together as a family. Looking back, I realize that some people will never change, and you cannot force them to. Rachel's jealousy and need for control were extreme, and no reasoning or pleading could have changed that. Accepting that and setting firm boundaries is what allowed us to move forward. I feel stronger, more confident, and capable of protecting what truly matters, my daughter, my husband, and our life together. Update 3. Over time, we've managed to rebuild our sense of safety. Rachel is legally forbidden from approaching us, and Daniel strictly enforces this. May grows healthier and stronger every day, and our bond as a family becomes deeper. Anna, John, and Emma remain pillars of support, constantly reminding us that family is not defined solely by blood, but by love, trust, and care. It's strange how one traumatic event can reshape your perception of people around you. I used to feel that Rachel's authority and presence were unavoidable, but now I see clearly that respect must be earned, not demanded. Daniel's firm stance has been a wake-up call for me. Loyalty and protection in a relationship are priceless, and I have never felt more supported in my life. Even though the memories of the wedding day and the terrifying moments in the bathroom linger, they no longer paralyze me. Each day with May is a reminder that life goes on and that love, support, and determination can overcome even the most shocking betrayals. I can smile again without guilt, I can celebrate my daughter's milestones without fear, and I can trust Daniel completely. Now, when I look back, I realize that the real tragedy would have been letting fear and control dictate our lives. Instead, we reclaimed our joy and security. Rachel's actions, however extreme, taught us the importance of boundaries, vigilance, and mutual support. May will grow up in a safe and loving environment, surrounded by people who genuinely care for her well-being. And for that, I am eternally grateful. I hope sharing my story will help others understand that even the worst situations can be survived and that standing up for yourself and your loved ones is never wrong. You do not have to tolerate abuse, manipulation, or irrational jealousy. Protecting your family is not only your right, it's your duty. In conclusion, this experience has reshaped my understanding of family, trust, and personal boundaries. I learned that no one, no matter their relation to you, has the right to endanger your life or the life of your child. Rachel's actions crossed every possible line, and it became clear that some relationships are toxic beyond repair. But it also showed me the strength of those who truly care. Daniel's unwavering support proved that love is more than words. It's action, protection, and standing up for each other, no matter the cost. Anna, John, and Emma reinforced the truth that family is defined by those who choose to be there for you, not simply by genetics. Together, they helped me survive the most traumatic day of my life and celebrate the arrival of our daughter, May, in safety and love. We've moved forward, stronger and closer than ever. Rachel is legally barred from coming near us or our daughter, and we have no contact with her. The fear, pain, and chaos of that day have become a reminder. Vigilance, courage, and love can overcome even the most absurd and dangerous acts of others. May will grow up surrounded by people who truly love her, and I will always cherish that protection and care. Life is fragile, but it is also resilient. This ordeal showed me that even in the darkest moments, family and support can bring light, healing, and hope. To anyone reading this, never underestimate the importance of protecting yourself and your loved ones. Boundaries are vital, and you are never wrong for defending your family. Trust those who truly care, and do not be afraid to stand up against irrational control and harmful behavior. Love, safety, and understanding are worth fighting for, and they are worth protecting, always.